Hello and welcome to the explanation of these designs. They are all done using Loren Sherman's script, which uses a combination of dots and lines on these four different shaped stems to make our consonants. And vowels are a bit trickier. They're smaller circles and they have different positions depending upon what vowel they are and if they're attached on one of these four consonant stems. So A's are always on the outside of the word circle, E's are always on the line of the word circle, or if they're attached on a stem that goes inside the word circle, they're inside the center of that stem. And O's are always on the inside of the word circle, and if they're attached on a stem, they're like a bead on a string. So anyway, let's go ahead and get to these designs. So we're going to start with this one because it's the simplest. So we have three word circles here, and we can't see most of the word circles because of the stuff that's in the way, but we can see all of the needed letters. So starting at the bottom of this first word circle, and you read bottom counterclockwise. The bottom of this word circle, we have our first letter, which is a circle inside the word circle stem with two lines on it, making it a P. And then we have this little circle on the line of the word circle, and it has a line going outwards. And U's are like E's with lines going outwards, so this is a P, U. And then we have a double line, and a double line is a double letter. And this line is inside the word circle, so it is another one of these stems, and there are three dots by it. So this is a double L. So this first word is P-U-double-L, and it continues around like this. And then our next word is this one. Bottom of it's here. We have a shallow divot with no modifier, so that's just a T. And we have an O on it like a bead on a string. So two, and then we have this last word here. So this is kind of neat because if we start at this bottom, we hit nothing until this first letter. And these letters all go in order, P-U-double-L-T-O, and then we have the O on open, O, inside the word circle by itself. And then we have this circle inside the word circle. And these two lines look like they pass through it, but actually it ends here and it ends here. So that counts twice, makes it a P. And then we have an E on the line of the word circle. And then we have an N with one line on it. So O-P-E-N. So we can read this word bottom counterclockwise like this, or we can read it as part of the bottom counterclockwise sentence here. So this works quite well as a pull to open design with a lot of stuff going on. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to this design. So this is the same phrase twice, and it's obviously mirrored. However, since you read bottom counterclockwise, you can't mirror everything, because if you are to read something bottom counterclockwise, if it can be read going bottom counterclockwise and then mirror it, it would also be able to be read going bottom clockwise. So that's how I can tell pretty quickly if something can be read both bottom counterclockwise and bottom clockwise, is if it can be mirrored. For example, we have this word here, bottom of it is a B, and then an E at the top of it. Same thing here, bottom is a B and then an E. So this is a perfectly symmetrical, mirrorable word. But this word here is not mirrorable, which is why I made the layout kind of symmetrical. But if I were to have read this bottom clockwise, it would be K-I-D-N, right? So you couldn't mirror this one. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and read them in order. So here's our first sentence. You read bottom counterclockwise again, so this is where we start. And this is our very first word in our first sentence. And it's kind of tricky to tell what are dots and what are like anchor points. When I color it, these will be silver and stuff, but this is just anchor points in the design. So anyway, they don't interfere with anything. And here's our first word, and bottom of it's here. We have the circle inside the word circle with 1, 2, 3 dots by it, making it an L. And then outside the word circle, we have an A. And whenever a consonant and a vowel are attached like this, you always read the consonant first and then the vowel. So even though the A is lower than the L, you always read the L first because they're directly in line with each other and attached. So L-A, and then we have the U with a line going outwards. So here's the U here. And then we have a circle on the line of the word circle. So this stem with one dot makes it a GH. So here again, this is another example of a non-mirrorable word, because if you were to read it counterclockwise instead of, well, if you were to read it clockwise instead of counterclockwise, it'd be L-A-G-H-U. So what I did is, for these dots, I switched them. So this is like a pretend U, that's a dot on the L, and this is a real U that has the line going to the pretend U, which is why you can just switch these dots and it works out. Yeah, woo. Okay, so laugh, and then we have this word, which again is not symmetrical, because this is a deep divot, and this is a shallow divot, this is a shallow divot, this is a deep divot. So again, make it be read correctly, even though it's almost symmetrical. So anyway, here we have a deep divot with 2 lines on it, making it an H, and then we have the A outside the word circle, so HA, and then a bottom here, HA, so this starts the same, and then we continue around to a shallow divot with 1, 2, 3 dots, making it an R. This one we continue around, here's that shallow divot, making it an R, and then we have a deep divot with 3 dots, which is a D, and here it is here, D, so H-A-R-D, H-A-R-D. So there's the hard, laugh hard, and then this is a period. I don't have it shown here, but punctuation is on the line of the sentence circle, which goes around the words, and a period is an open circle on that line. So here's that first period, here's the second period, and here's the third period, by the way, if you were curious about that. So laugh hard, period. And this is actually perfectly symmetrical, the run fast, because RU is right stacked together and then continue around to the N. Here's the RU continuing around to the N. So they can be perfectly symmetrical, and then fast FA. And then we can stack stems, so this is the ST, and then this is the ST here. So if you have 2 consonants that are in the same row, you can put them directly on top of each other. So a T and an S are in the same row. So we make a double line, and we show that they're different letters by making the lines different thicknesses. So we have a thin one and a thick one, and you read thin to thick. So this thin line has 1, 2, 3 lines ending on it, making it an S, and then this thick one has nothing ending on it, making it a T. So F-A-S-T, and then F-A. So even though this is sticking out, not directly at the bottom because it crosses the bottom, this is the first stem we hit, and because this vowel is attached to it, you still read it as part of this consonant. So that's why it still works for the F-A-S-T. So yeah, that's true for here with the R-U. So anyway, here's the run fast and then period, run fast period. And then we have B kind. So the B we talked about, deep divot, no modifiers is a B. And then an E is on the line of the word circle. And then K has 2 dots on a circle inside the word circle. And then an N has 1 line on it. And then a D has 3 dots, deep divot 3 dots. So K-I-N-D and K-I-N-D. And then here is, again, the period at the very end. So I have some decorative stuff. These dashed lines are all purely decorative, kind of help balancing out the design. Anyway, so those are the side of the back box sides. And really happy with how that one turned out. I think it'll make a really nice frame. It looks kind of like a parting movie curtain with this kind of back to forth flow, and I really like the symmetry of it. Yay, because it is symmetrical because it's mirrored, except for this word, and this word. It is perfectly symmetrical. Anyway, let's get to a design that is not perfectly symmetrical, but still fairly close. So this is the side panel design, and it is the same image that is cropped in different ways. So everything is in the same position on both of them, except this is bigger on this side and this here is bigger on this side, right? Because that's how it works. And there's 3 different kinds of elements here. So there's the background design, and then there's the seal design, the gears, and then there's the pinball design in the middle of it, which I'm pretty proud. I think I will keep this sort of shading scheme of making it 3-dimensional like a sphere on it, and I'll make the whole thing kind of shiny. I'll play with that in coloring, but I think it will work out to make this word pinball look like pinball. So anyway, the most punchy and prominent design is this in the middle, and I'll keep it that way in the coloring. And bottom counterclockwise is how you'd read it. So this is exactly the same thing twice, so I'm not going to really worry about getting into it for both of them. But here's the bottom of it, and this is the first kind of chunk we hit. And this chunk can be viewed in 2 ways, as the entire chunk or by reading the little bits in it. If we see it as an entire chunk, we have this shallow divot with no modifiers on it. So that would be a T. Now if we read it individually, here we have another T, shallow divot, no modifiers. And then we have an I with a line going towards the middle. And then we have this M with 1, 2, 3 lines coming from it. And then an E in the middle of the M. So time or the letter T. Now we have this chunk. Bottom of it's here. We have an A outside the word circle, an N with 1 line on it, and then a deep divot with 3 dots. And then there's this little thing outside the word circle, which is a big ol' A. So this would be a T, A, and then the word and here. I'm actually thinking about shading in this a little bit to match this color here to make this look like it's part of the scheme and this look like it's part of a scheme. because right now, other than touching, it's got no indication that it's part of this whole idea. So I think I will shade that in and shade that in to kind of add to my little trick I'm doing here. So here we have our next chunk, which is a shallow divot with 1, 2, 3 big dots. So that'd be an R, like this. And then our first letter is an R, so shallow divot, 3 dots, and then an E in the middle of that. And then we have an L with 3 dots, and then the A outside the L, so R-E-L-A. Then we have a T with an I and a V with an E, so tiv. Relative. So the detail to notice here is this little tiny line connects up to the vowel in the first one because an I has a line going towards the middle. And in the second one, it connects up to the stem, the consonant stem, because a shallow divot with one line is a V. And then the E has no line on it, so the I goes to the V, so T-I-V-E. So those are 4 different letters there. Anyway, so relative, or an R. And then we have this, which has a deep divot kind of effect to it, which has 3 dots on it, so that's a D. So 3 dots on a deep divot is a D. And then the whole word is D, I line going towards the middle, M with 1, 2, 3 lines, E in the middle of that, N. This only has that one thick line on it. You can't see from zoomed this far away, but this little tiny line does not end on the N. It stops before it. It's hard to see with this zoomed out, but it's a lot like this one that ends before it hits anything, or these guys that end before they hit anything. This one also ends before it hits the N. So this just has one line on it. So N, and then we have this deep divot with 1, 2. This line here ends on it, and then 3. That one there ends on it. So S. I line going towards the middle, and then an O, this little circle here inside the word circle, and then another N with one line on it, just like this N. So dimension, or the letter D, and then we have the letter I with a line going towards the middle, or I-N, little I, and then normal N. So I or in, and then our last word, this is a shallow divot, just like this one, except it has 3 lines. So that would be an S, and then that would be an S, 1, 2, 3 lines on it. And then a P with 1, 2 lines, A outside the word circle, and then another S, 1, 2, 3 lines on it. And then an E in the middle of that S. So S-P-A-S-E, or the letter S. Oh, also, use the letter C only if you are using proper nouns or acronyms. Otherwise, you substitute with an S or K depending upon the sound that it makes. So that's why space is spelled S-P-A-S-E instead of S-P-A-C-E, because C is a stupid letter and you don't use it unless you have to. So yeah, that is, I'm really proud of this design for Tardis, which is T-A-R-D-I-S, or time and relative dimension in space. And then in the middle of it we have the word pinball. P has 2 lines, I has a line going towards the middle. Here we have overlapped N, B, and a double L. So these are all 3 the same size. I just overlapped them to fill out the space better and not kind of interfere with this line here. But P, I, circle inside the word circle with 1 line is an N. B with the A outside the word circle. There's no modifiers on the B. A, and then a double L, double line with 3 dots. So pinball. And then we, so that's the middle bit. So it's exactly the same here. And nothing of it is cut off. It's fully visible right in the middle. This is just a decorative kind of breaking circle that chunks into it to separate out our words. I didn't want to put too much extra in here to make it look like it's trying to say something. So I just put in these kind of shaded, and I'll put them kind of towards the background, little chunks to fill up the space a bit more and tie in more with these. I'll probably have these all kind of just fade a little bit too, to kind of make this punch out more in the middle and have an obvious flow of stuff you read. Anyway, so this is just decorative. If it were to say something, it would say like the number 1.1 negative, so negative 1.1, and this would be negative, well, positive, this would just be 0, 0.0, yeah, because normally a thick line with concentric circles is how you do numbers, but anyway. Let's go ahead and get to the background circles. I'm going to start on this side because we can see everything here and there's no dots in the way. Which, by the way, I lined up the dots. They're in a line. I'm proud of that. So anyway, here is our first word. Bottom of it's here. Here's an I, line going towards the middle. Continuing around, here's a T, shallow divot, no modifiers. Then we have 2 lines coming from the word circle branching off into a sentence circle, which is how you do an apostrophe. But again, I don't have punctuation noted here. My screen is kind of full. Anyway, so apostrophe, and then we have this shallow divot, and if we count up our lines, this ends on it, this ends on it, this passes through, and this ends on it. So 1, 2, 3, that makes it an S. So I-T apostrophe S, so it's, like, it is, the contraction it's. And then we have this word, bottom of it's here. We have a deep divot like this, and lines pass through it, but no lines end on it. So because no lines end on it, none of them count, only lines that stop on it count. So that's just a B. And then we have an I with a line going towards the middle. And then we have this double line here, so that's a double letter, just like the double L's we've had before. So this is a double G, because it's a double deep divot with one line, so GG. And then we have an E on the line of the word circle, and then 1, 2, 3 dots on the R, so bigger. And then we have a dot, 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 which would be a period, 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 as we talked about before, I think, maybe? Yes, we did. We talked about periods here. So this would be an ellipse, so dot, dot, dot. So it's bigger, dot, 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 is what we say on this side. And then we have the top of the dot cropped off here. So we have the top of one of the periods cropped off, which I think is an okay thing to cut off as far as getting this space adequately used and not adding a whole bunch of random extra circles that mean nothing and do nothing, which is something I tend not to do and don't like doing if I can avoid. So anyway, that's the dot, 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 or this case it is dot, dot, half dot. And then these, again, are not part of the design. They are part of the construction, so yeah, they would be here. This is what it looks like without it. So anyway, so time end, and then we have the whole Tardis dealio. Wait, no, this is, it's bigger. And then we have on, O inside the word circle, N with one line, and the word the is kind of hidden. So this is the word circle on the word the, and everything passes through it because I don't want to accidentally make things look like more apostrophes, which is why this sentence circle passes clean through it. Anyway, so here we have our line of our word circle, and then on that line we have a TH stem, so this stem, and there are no modifiers, so that's just TH, and I think that's the only TH stem. Oh no, we've done it here. We've done it here with the GH. Anyway, so TH, then we have an E on the line of the word circle. So on the, and then we have this big old word here, bottom of it's here, I line going towards the middle, and then we have a shallow divot with this thick line ending on it, this thin line here ending on it, and that thick line ending on it, so that would be 3 lines, so that's an S. Then we have an I with a line going towards the middle, continuing all around here. Here's our last letter. It is a deep divot with 1, 2, 3 dots. So it's a D, and then I lied. This is the actual last letter, this little E at the end. So I-N-S-I-D-E. And then it looks like it's got a question mark at the end, but those are just the dots of the thingy, just like this has that thingy, those dots. These are not dots in the design, otherwise that looks like a question mark, which is 2 dots. If we go to the full design, it's got 1, 2, 3 dots. It's that ellipses again, which I think neatly matches this side as far as getting some symmetry happening. We've got these big 3 dots and these big 3 dots, and they're the same size, and it looks nice. So yeah, that's this design. I'm really happy with it. And again, when I send you the files, I will send you without the extra bits here, but cropped to this size, if that makes sense. So I'll have the backgrounds cropped out, and I will send you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 files of just the design, without any of the extra stuff here, that you can just mask out or line up. I am assuming that is how it will work nicely. So, yeah, I plan on just sending this shape of the design with none of this stuff added and the lines kind of going through. So this won't end right here. It'll keep going like it does when I drew it, because again, when I drew it big and the lines passed through things and continued and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I will send you the different files for that. Yeah. So time for color. I'm going to do one with a spacey background and one with the Tardis blue background. So yep, that's that design. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know.